some owners actually want to win games. That is so far down the totem pole for him. This is like a nonstop laughing stock. If I wrote a movie and sent you the script, you'd be like, dude, this is so unrealistic. It's too much. We covered the Sacramento A's, although we're not allowed to call them that, according to the team. But we want to get your – Kratz, I'll give you the info. They asked them if they're going to be the Sacramento A's, and they said, no, they're just going to be the A's.
Stop it.
They're just the A's. They're not the Vegas A's. They're not the Oakland A's. They're not the Sacramento A's. They're just the A's.
So does their jersey on the road just say the A's?
The A's or Athletics. Someone made the case that no one calls the Angels the Anaheim Angels or the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. I was like, true. But still, this is different.
Are the A's City Connect jerseys going to be nothing? They're just going to wear jock straps and sliders because they're not connecting with any city?
Well, no, it's going to be armadillos because their owner has an armadillo fetish.
David Cavall's interview yesterday with Casey Pratt killed me. I know I'm off topic here, but we're talking about the A's. He was like, so does this mean now that you guys are going to allow replies and have more connection with fans? And Dave Cavall was like, he always has his eyes like this big. He's like, we're going to really try to do as much as we can because this has moved us along in the future of the A's, and we're excited about the new. And Casey was like, you never even answered the question. It was so hilarious.
He's a bot.
He looks like a bot.
But this tweet, it's so weird because it's not called Twitter anymore. So this X, what do you call this? This X
tweet. I mean,
this marks the spot. No family room, no mother's room, no shade or bathrooms in the bullpen. Only one shared batting cage, and he thought the Coliseum. So it was MLB. We've asked this question. They're going to come in and they're going to have to redo it because the clubhouses aren't very good.
Well, the PA has already made some complaints, so they're going to have to fix things. And that's Trevor Hildenberger. He played. He played out there, I'm assuming. Minor league specialist Kratz, right?
I assume so. I'm not sure if he actually played out there, but it seems like he knows.
What are they going to – Mark, our EP, had a great question. What are they – the three little letters they put, like OAK for, like, the teams, what are they going to put, like, on the scheduling and stuff?
AAA.
A?
AAA.
SOS, MIA.
A apostrophe S? I mean, what do you put? Because normally, like, if you look at – like, if you watch a game right now, right, that says Oakland, Detroit, right, Toronto, New York, Yankees. Mm-hmm. They're just going to say A's?
Hey, forget about it.
Or, in the corner of the scoreboard, it has usually the three little letters, or on a betting app or on an ESPN or MLB, it has the three little letters. Just going to say A's.
Or SAC, if someone has the SAC to put SAC.
MEH. MEH is what it's going to say.
Well, let me read this. And then we're clearly, Kip, we can't get over ourselves here. But I'll read Buster Olney's tweet and then tell me your thoughts on being a player in this situation, just how it's handled on a daily basis. But Buster Olney said, it appears the difference between what Oakland offered and what the A's wanted was about $35 million or so over 3 years, or about the same that the Angels are paying reliever Robert Stevenson. Meanwhile, owners overseeing an industry worth many tens of billions of dollars stand by and watch their weakest franchise put on this cheap circus and do nothing. Incomprehensible and a terrible business decision. And also, they have an option. They might not open this shit until 2029 in Vegas. Like, they keep adding years. It was supposed to be 27. Now it's 28. Sacramento might be hosting them until through 28.
It's just a bad look. And they won't even hey, Sacramento, thanks for letting us use your stadium, but we won't claim you or use your name to represent us at all, too. And then this is I'm as the player side of me wants people to kind of pay attention to this because it's like the owners are fighting with the owners on a bunch of stuff and cities. So like when you see players fight with owners, whether it's a holdout or lockout, it's like you're getting a glimpse they're doing a lot on their own to fight with each other too over money that just isn't that much to them. So I don't get how 13, you said 12 to 13 million a year, 35 over 3.
That's what they were fighting over
them.
with the A's. Yeah.
Yeah. Is what they're is
Or
what
over
separates
Oakland.
them.
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. I understand it's a business and under the bottom line, but at what point are you creating more problems for yourself than solving them?
Now they've already been causing problems.
Years.
I mean, this.
Yeah.
I mean, from yesterday, from John Fisher saying, "Man, I can't wait to see Aaron Judge hit homers against us." Like, what? Wait, what?
Not even our own
Like,
team. Yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't even name one player on his own team that was hitting homers for him. He should have said like Galoff or Langoliers or Esteury Ruiz has already been here, so he's going to come back and play on another team. It's insanity to me that he named other players and like, yeah, I can't wait to watch some of these superstars hit homers against us. Wait, what?
That encapsulates everything bad about what this dude represents. Doesn't give a fuck about winning or his own team or anything besides making money and knowing that when Aaron Judge is there, he is born or from or whatever the area, and there's Yankee fans, so they will spend money at his park. Like some owners actually want to win games. That is so far down the totem pole for him. I mean, he also grew up a Giants fan, by the way. This is like a nonstop laughing stock. If I wrote a movie and sent you the script, you'd be like, dude, this is so unrealistic. It's too much.
Now, as a player, I know I would make the best of the situation as best I can. I think, and knowing these other two guys too, they would too. I'm sure there would be comments daily about what a shithole it is or just why are we here or stuff like that. But I know professionally the three of us or something would make the most of it. But if you get called up in the next 2 years to the A's and you're like, oh, I go play in a big league stadium and then that's where you're going, or that's your experience that you get to, or maybe that's your cup of coffee is during these 2 years or something, or is that that sucks. There's just no way around it. That sucks.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of trade requests
Absolutely.
If you're Ross Stripling and you got traded there next year and you're like, oh, I went from the Giant Stadium to the Sacramento River Cat Stadium. Wait a second, this sucks, dude. What? I mean, how are they gonna? I mean, unless they overpay, there's not going to be guys that are going to want to go there, right? I mean, they'll get the guys, they'll get some veteran guys that are kind of near the end, and hey, give me 1 year and I'll hang on for a year and hopefully get traded to a winner. But they're not gonna. They're gonna have a hard. And I know that Fisher and Caval have come out and said we're gonna up our payroll to mid 150s by the time we get to Vegas. Well,
bullshit.
They're gonna have to pay. So they're gonna have to overpay guys so much to go to a AAA stadium. I'm sorry.
They're not worried about that.
Go ahead, Scott.
I was just saying they're not worried about it because the other dude, the Kings owner, who's best buds with Fisher, and they probably have a million side deals. He was talking about Ohtani being there. They are not worried about their own team. And it is actually the perfect excuse. They will document this. They'll go to free agency. They'll say, we made a few offers to some players and they said no. So I know we told you in our report and our presentation to the owners that we were going to up payroll and be competitive, but no one said yes. It is actually the perfect scheme. Ken Rosenthal in Fair Territories just called it a charade. He's like, this has just been a never-ending charade that embarrasses the sport.
There's no repercussions. So why would they change? Why would they sign anybody? There's no repercussions. Why would they add more staff? They're completely understaffed in the minor leagues, in the A's system. Call a coach that that's in the minor leagues for the A's. Doesn't mean they're bad coaches. It means like when other teams are running 4 coaches out there, they're running 3. When other teams are running 3 coaches out there, they're running 2. They're completely underpaid. But my question was going to be, which would be worse? Having your call up, let's say you just get a short cup of coffee and your big league experience is the COVID season when your family and friends couldn't come and watch any of your games and there was no fans, or playing the same amount of time in Sacramento. Like that's your big league call up. Which would you rather have?
COVID. You're in a big league stadium. It just feels more
minor league.
I don't know. To be in the Sacramento one, yeah. You might be more comfortable during the game. You might have turn that cup of coffee into a little bit more longer stay if you're just that comfortable. Because you're playing in minor league stadiums to minor league stadium. That's your jump.
It's not even a new stadium. The stadium was built 25 years ago. right? Because I played there in 2000, so this isn't even like one of the new ones either. This is an older AAA stadium, and so I don't know.
Whose responsibility does it fall under? Is it Oakland's then ownership to remodel like the clubhouses at all for Sacramento? Does MLB have any? Do they need to step in at all and add a little to it to help out, or is it just strictly on Oakland's hand?
Good question, because all the other renovations, Blue Jays renovations, are the ones that we always go to, because that's when they did it. MLB stepped in and paid some millions of dollars, whether it's $2 or $5 million, to do those renovations, and some of them were temporary in Buffalo.
Because it's still their product. It's still the MLB's product.
I just want to reiterate this too.
Maybe Ken will know.
This is Major League Baseball. You guys are talking about like a COVID disaster situation. There's nothing wrong here besides a poison owner who hates baseball. So it's 2024 right now. Next year, there's a team playing games in a minor league ballpark in 2025.
Gosh, I hope I get to go do a game there.
2026, 2027, and maybe 2028.
Their stadium ain't going to be done by 28. They haven't even broken again until I see them actually take one of them golden shovels and put it in the ground, and John Fisher throws it on Dave Cavall. I mean, we haven't even seen like that. We've seen a rendering of a stadium that looks like it's out of like 2,000 years from now with like a clear wall and like all this crazy stuff. But we haven't seen them break down. Tropicana's still there.
I thought they just.
Oh, did they finally demolish it?
I think they just tore it.
But they still haven't dug a shovel where they're like, "Hey, time to go." Because I think, is it the Rays that have done that before and the stadium didn't even come through? Wasn't there a team that I thought maybe it was the Rays? They took a shovel in the ground and they're like, "Here's where we're building our new stadium." And they're like, "Nope, just kidding."
Here, my biggest thing with this is what is the reason we have the CBA? It's so that baseball does not become a monopolistic, Major League Baseball does not become a monopolistic group and not even worry about the product on the field. This is a prime example of where the Players Association, it'll be a big miss if things don't change for the A's team based on the Players Association keeping MLB accountable for this situation, because they're not trying to put a product on the field that gives a semblance of them not being monopolistic. They cannot be a monopoly and say, well, we're a big league team. It doesn't really matter because there's no other people in town. There's no other entertainment in town. You can't go anywhere else to get a big league game. So we're holding this and we're going to ruin it because we're holding this.
This should be blocked.
Didn't the Reds owners say the same thing? Like, where else are you going to go?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was about the team.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it's 2 or 3 years ago.
No, it was last year. It was last year,
I think.
No.
It was last year. He said,
I think it was
we're not selling tickets. Where else are you going to go watch a game?
I was working for the league. I know I was working for the league. Dude,
you were not. You were working for us.
We're not selling tickets? What did he say?
They weren't selling tickets or a lot of tickets or something in, what's his name, Castellini? Not the dad, the kid, not Bob, the son, I think, came out and said, like,
it was 2022, April.
Oh, it was 2 years ago then?
I know, because I was working at the league, and obviously we didn't cover it.
Where you want to go back to?
You're shipping me back to my old job. Where are you going to go? Well, you could. The old age-old concept for every team here is you are allowed to sell. But
they won't.
But think about it.
They won't sell.
Yes, that was different.
But that was a completely different thing.
Transactions.
Yeah, that was a completely different thing. And the Reds,
guys.
and listen, I give the Reds credit the last 2 years. They've made transactions. They've done a bunch of things.
They did.
Are moving in the right direction. They got a chance to be very good this year. Yeah. Very, very competitive, as Nick Kroll. Nick Kroll needs to hear, though.
What?
But
yes, this is a trainer. This is like what Kip and Kratz were saying. How is this allowed? Can the players just say, we're not doing this?
No. I don't think it's in the CBA.
They're not allowed? So they're so what if, can every team do this? Can you guys all just play in minor league parks now? What's the line?
This is why we have the CBA, and it has to be in there that there is a level, and this is what Tony Clark always talks about. There's a level of expectation from not having a roommate on the road to staying in 5-star hotels. they have to set that level of expectation. And again, I feel like the owners in this case, not all the owners, in this case, they found a caveat and realized you can't do anything about it. But this is where they need to step in and use those expectations and say, and I know this is what Tony Clark and the Players Association, whoever's heading this up, is doing, saying, okay, I get it, you're moving here, but there has to be a covered bullpen. We can't have pitchers getting, sitting out in the baking sun. There has to be a pisser in the bullpen. There has to be a clubhouse where people don't have butts and faces when they're changing. All that stuff has to happen.
It happened in Buffalo. It happened in Dunedin for the Blue Jays.
Mm-hmm.
And the PA came in and said, listen, this isn't acceptable. And they fixed it. But now, I mean, this is going to be different because this is years of it. The Blue Jays thing was for what, 30 games or whatever it was? It wasn't for the long haul.
Mm-mm.
This is for the long haul. So who's going to spend the money? And what if it's not acceptable? Do the players go and say, we're not going to play there?
That's what I'm saying.
Then what happens?
That was a disaster. That was a pandemic.
Yeah.
This is on purpose.
I know.
They're doing this on purpose.
But can the players
They're not
strike?
Like, oh, we fell. The stadium crumbled.
You cannot strike.
You can't. So you can't do shit.
The players can't do anything? This is like when they change the rules, the players have no say?
That's like you saying I
say?
signed a contract to come and work somewhere, and you're like, I'm not going to. Not only would they lose their job, that would be breach of contract, which would eliminate what guaranteed player is going to be like, I'm making $40 million over the next 4 years. When we go into Oakland, I'm not going. That's a breach of contract.
I'm talking about the home team. I'm not talking about the road team. I'm talking about the home team.
I mean, they'll just call up the next group of guys.
Yeah. They'll call up Esra Ruiz. They'll call him back up.
They won't call him up.
You got to play in Sacramento.
68 bags. They don't want him up there.
Yeah, it's too many.
No, I don't know.
What a trainer. I can't get over it.
Can we get somebody from the Players Association to come on? I mean, we've had Tony Clark on a few times.
Yeah, to talk about the specifics.
Yeah, because this seems like, I know that the Players Association, they have a rules committee. There's 5 owners and 4 players, and the owners always vote together, and the players never have any say in it. So, is there somebody that in the Players Union Association that can tell us if this, because I don't know the CBA inside and out. Do you, anybody? I mean, this has also never happened before.
It's crazy that you can't block this. You know what happens with CBAs nowadays, Kip? Because this happened in the last fight. The players obviously are trying to make themselves money. There's no doubt. That's part of their job. They're stakeholders in the game. The other thing that they have to battle is competitiveness. Like, they have to negotiate to get a draft lottery because there's too much tanking. Like, it's not something that they all sit down and agree on. It's one side. That's why people are siding with players more and more, because it's not just millionaires versus billionaires. It's game versus don't care. It's competitiveness versus don't care. It's we're going to have 4 or 5 years in a minor league park versus we should be the big leagues. It's our uniforms should look like their big league uniforms versus someone's paying us to make crappier versions.
I think that's why you don't see any big changes come from CBAs. I think you see small little increments to see kind of just get what they can. It's never no side really ever gives up the full change just to make the game better, and it's a sad fact. It's just you don't give up anything without getting something is kind of the way it's negotiated. So that's kind of all the way it's always been, though.
But why did they have to? My point is, why did they have to give that up? Like, I know the answer, but I don't. Like, when did the fight become, oh, you want more competitiveness? What are you giving us for it? Oh, you don't want us to be in a minor league ballpark? What are you giving us for that? Do you know what I'm saying? That's the part that I do not understand. Oh, you want a draft lottery because the same teams just want to tank all the time? What are you giving us? What do we get for that? What?
You're using.
Don't we all want to win? This is your asset too. Fucking
you're
idiot.
using too much reason and rationale here, and that's not the case. You're going under the assumption, you're lawyering the fact that, hey, this helps all of us, when they're going into it probably, how can this help my side?
Yeah.
Yes, there's the undertone of I want to help the entire product of the MLB and the game of baseball, but it's just not always the case, and especially in negotiations, rarely is that taken, that case, that side of, does this help everybody? Then let's do this. It's never that easy.
a tough look. It's a very tough.
You just
look.
feel bad. You feel bad for Oakland fans too. You really do, because if it's, let's say you follow this train all the way down, and they open in Vegas, then they can spend in free agency. So they'll finally open the pocketbooks and get a couple good free agencies or something for that. And new city of Vegas would be easier to bring in better talent. More guys will want to play there. New stadium, and the Vegas gets to reap all the benefits of that. They'll be a great city, a fantastic sports city for them. But you just really do feel for the Oakland fans on this one. And I don't think we have to worry about it. But I was reading some of these messages. What happens if Oakland's again? Sadly, I don't think we'll have to worry about it. What if they're good and make a playoffs? What, a World Series at Sacramento?
Oh my God!
Like World Series in Sacramento.
But that's what's wrong. If we don't have to worry about one team, guarantee you the next 3 years, this team's going to be so bad they're not going to make the playoffs. That is the core problem right there. And Mark even said it later on in our chat. If they're so fine with this stadium, why don't they they're going to be there for 3 years. Why don't they get the All-Star game in 3 years? Give it to them.
This actually sounds good. So either they're good and they're in the playoffs and we have playoff ball in Sacramento, or they're fucking terrible. They probably didn't live up to their promise of investing in the team. And then they have all of this awful tank momentum heading into a city that has literally nothing. There is nothing to do in Vegas. So there's no competition. So if you go to Vegas with an awful team run by an awful person, they're going to come to the games. Oh, wait, it's Vegas. You need to go in there freaking gangbusters. So either they're good and they're a playoff Sacramento team, or they're awful. And Vegas is like, please do not deliver this garbage.
We're gonna take ecstasy and go to the Sphere over watching guys play.
That's Scott's dream.
That's what I feel like when I cover this story. I mean, last thing, we got that John Fisher quote about him kissing Aaron Judge's toes live during the show. And a couple of people texted me after the show and they were like, did you really not know about that quote? And I was like, yeah, we got the quote during the show. They were like, was that a bit where you're like, did he really say that? And I was like, no, I was making sure that no one was screwing with us and that it was a real quote. And we found out live on the air that it was a real quote. That's why we had a hard time understanding it. That
was my fault. I said, is that real? Because it wasn't in quotation marks. And I'm like, there's no way that a grown man that is involved in something for his livelihood actually said something like that.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.